Hey guys, it's me, the Asian. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you are new, make sure you subscribe so you can see more of my face. And for today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys some of the books I want to read before the New Year's. It's not a 100% promise that I'm going to read all these books because there's quite a few of them. Let's start with the physical books because I don't have that many. So I have I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, and it's about her life as a former child star, and it mentions eating disorders, addiction, and a complicated relationship with her overbearing mother and how she retook control of her life. I've been trying to get this book for a while now. Of course, when it first came out, it was sold out literally everywhere, even like ebook and audiobooks. So I'm glad that I finally got it. I'm actually surprised that it was at my job, and this was $16.78. It was 40% off, so that's good. The next book that I have is Colleen Hoover. If you've been watching BookTube or just BookTok, you know that Colleen Hoover is a pretty popular author. So the first book that I have is It Starts With Us. So I am going to be reading the description on the back of these books because I don't know 100% what it's about. And some of these, especially the ebooks that I have, I read the synopsis like once, and it just been sitting in my tablet for a while. So I feel kind of bad that I got the Colleen Hoover book and I don't even know what it's about. I just got it just because it's a very popular book. So the next book that I have is November 9th. So I heard, before I continue on the next two, I've heard mixed reactions of Colleen Hoover. Mostly these were the main books that people talk about that I heard mixed reaction from. I heard that all her other books are really good, but I don't know. That's the part that kind of worries me because I heard mixed reviews about these books. So the next one is Ugly Love. And then last but not least, I have It Ends With Us. I'm assuming that these two books probably correlate with each other. So one of these books I literally just got because I realized that I only had one of these. I'm pretty sure this was the book that I just got because I was watching a BookTube video, and I forgot that this was also a book, so I was like, it'll make sense to get this and then read this. So I guess I should read this first before reading with this, just because of how the way that this book already says of Lily and Riley already being together, and this is when they first meet. So I don't know, or does it even matter? Because I've heard that it doesn't matter which book you read in order, but like I said before, like the way that both of the synopses are, it will make sense if I read this first so I can get like the start of their relationship. So that's all the books that I have for physical copies. So now I'm gonna start with the ebooks. This is the main reason why I like ebooks, because they're free and I don't have to worry about wasting my money if I don't like a book. So now that I'm thinking of it, I'm kind of skeptical about the Colleen Hoover book since I heard mixed reviews about it. So, but it's too late now. I already got it. And this book I recently just got is called A Flycaster Who's Trying to Make Peace with the World. And I'm reading this off of my tablet so I can tell y'all the description of the book. Making peace with the world sooner or later, most of us have to, but how? For Ian McBride, his way begins almost accidentally when, in 1909, he watches a fly casting tournament in New York Central Park and begins to dream of becoming a great fly caster. But soon, Ian experiences personal tragedy and then is appalled by the unexpected slaughter of World War I. He retreats into the world of fly fishing and fly casting and meets unforgettable anglers like Doc, a Civil War veteran who tells how, after he enlisted in return for drinking money, he was unexpectedly changed by the horror of war. Izzy, a mysterious immigrant who, in his way, teaches Ian perhaps the most important lessons of long-distance fly casting, and George M.L. LaBranche, who, though torn by self-doubt, writes the book that revolutionized fly fishing. And so these angelers help change Ian's hopes and values through his father questions his courage. Ian decides to become a teacher instead of a lawyer and moves near the beautiful Beaverkill River, the birthplace of fly fishing in America. But tragedy still follows him. Torn by grief, he curses the world and loses faith in it until almost by accident, he finds a way to come to terms. How? The answer will surprise you. For some reason, when I read this the first time, it kind of reminded me of The Christmas Carol. I know this is like two different, things, but it does kind of sound similar to me for some reason. The next ebook that I have is called The Wanted by Lucas Schmidt. A cowboy named Jack McAllister leaves Kansas and travels to Lake Valley, New Mexico to find the wrestler who killed his brother. He finds out what happened to his brother while his own criminal past is brought into light. While searching for the wrestlers, he meets a dog that finds the trail for him. And only when Jake finds love in Silver City that he truly comes to terms with his own past. But there is one man left, the final surviving wrestler who helped kill his brother, and Jake intends to find him. Going back and forth between Hunter and Haunted, The Wanted is a fast-paced novel about regret, violence, and love. I honestly do love fast-paced books, and it says right here that it only has 161 pages, so I actually like that. And I usually won't read cowboy related books, but since this is kind of like true crime related, I want to read it because I love true crime, so that book sounds very interesting. The next one that I have is Emily List by Sean Platt and David W. Wright. All Cora wants is a new start, but how do you start over when you're still you? After the tragic loss of her horror writer father, Cora is starting over in a new town at a new school where nobody knows her. Nobody knows about her OCD tics. Nobody knows about her time spent in a mental hospital. Nobody knows that she may be seeing her father's ghost. But her new start is shattering the OCD tics she tries to keep secret come out in class. She soon finds herself a target of bullies again. New town, same loneliness and shame. And she's afraid to turn to her overworked mother who is worried about her own sanity. And then she meets Emily. The abused homegirl has her own problems, but she's the only person that gets Cora. Also, Emily has a list of people who have hurt her, a list of people that include Cora bullies, and now Emily wants Cora help in getting revenge. Can Cora find a normal life by striking back at her tormentors, or is she being lured into a darkness that will consume the sanity she desperately clinging to? Okay, so the next one is Boone by Brandon Bernstein. Boone is coming. Children sing songs about him and wrote his name on bathroom walls. He became a local celebrity in the town of Shepherd's Groove for killing his mother. After being locked away for more than 20 years, Frankie Boone is on the loose. His mother torments him from beyond the grave, and the entire town of Shepherd's Groove is screaming. Boone longs to silence it all, driven by a force he cannot control. With an axe by his side and the worst storm in over a century moving in, he may get his chance. Miles Madigan, a local deputy, has been obsessed with Frankie since childhood. Following a trail of blood and lunacy throughout the night, every dark and shameful secret is soon exposed, leaving him dangerously unstable and capable of murder. Miles longs to be part of Boone in any way he can, but the man wants no followers. And one thing clear is Boone walks alone. Ooh, I really like the sound of that. Okay, so this is one of the poetry books that I have. Poetry Off the Spectrum, a series of poems that touch a lightness and darkness and real-world issues that affect us personally. Okay, so another poetry book I believe this is. I think Part of Me Died by Tyrese Perkins. Yeah, it's another poetry book. Poetry can be light and airy, but this book is anything but. It's dark, emotional, and will make you feel anything that the author is feeling. Whenever you're a first-time reader or a seasoned poet, this book is sure to touch your heart. I think Part of Me Died is a book of poetry that will take you on an emotional roller coaster ride. You will cry and you will feel everything that the author felt and you will relate to it. The author writes about love and heartbreak, hate and loneliness, and everything in between. Each poem is a snapshot of the author's journey, and through a complicated emotional space, it will be a journey that you will want to go on and will enjoy it. The author writes what he feels straight from the heart, and he doesn't hold back on anything. For somebody who loves reading poetry, I don't read it enough. Like, I could read poetry all day long, but I honestly don't remember the last time I read poetry, nor do I read it often. So I'm very excited to start back into poetry. Okay, the next book that I have is Princess Diana, Closely Guarded Secret. So, the first royalty protection officer to publish a memoir, his name is Ken Warfy. He was a crucial figure in Princess Diana's life, obviously, since he was a protection officer, and they were together for about 7 years. He became close friends and trusted confidant who shared her most private moments. His first-hand account contradicts many of the so-called facts. About the princess, provides an affectionate, if not always critical insight into this complex, trouble, but ultimately fascinating woman here. After Inspector Worf resigned his position in 1993, making headlines, Princess Diana announced her withdrawal from public life and asked her Scotland Yard protection as a decision her former top cop believed led ultimately to her death. This account presents the most intimate portrait of Diana's to date, as well as fitting tribute to one of the outstanding figures of our age. Next, I have Our Team, the epic story of 4 men in the World Series that changed baseball, Luke Epplin. It's about the story of 4 men, Larry Doby, Bill Veeck, Bob Feller, and Satchel Paige, whose improbable union on the Cleveland Indians in the late 1940s will shape the immediate post-war era of Major League Baseball and beyond. So, we all heard of Jackie Robinson, how he was the first black player to break like the color line or whatever, and I would love to know more about other black baseball players. So this will be a great book for me to read, because not only do I like baseball, I also didn't know that there was other black people who followed a couple months after Jackie Robinson, because it says right here, in July 1947, not even 3 months after Jackie Robinson debuted on the Brooklyn Dodgers, snapping the color line that has segregated MLB, Larry Doby was following his footsteps on the Cleveland Indians through Doby, I don't know if it's Doby or Doby, as the second black player in the majors, was struggling during his first summer in Cleveland. His subsequent turnaround in 1948 from benchwarmer to superstar sparked one of the wildest and most meaningful seasons in the baseball history. And then that's where Bill Veeck, an eccentric and visionary owner, adept at exploding fireworks on and off the field. Larry Doby, a soft-spoken, hard-hitting pioneer who MLB breakthrough shattered stereotypes that so many of white America held about black ball players. Bob Feller, a pitching prodigy from the Iowa Cornfields who set the template for the athlete as a businessman, and Satchel Paige, a legendary pitcher from the Negro Leagues who belated entry in the majors with baseball fans across the country. Okay, next I have Jackie Kennedy, A Captivating Guide to the Life of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. And once again, this talks about the life of Jackie Kennedy. Some of the topics covered in this book include childhood and early education, college, and early career, the relationship with John F. Kennedy, motherhood, campaign for presidency, First Lady, the Kennedy assassination, life following the assassination, ongoing iconic figure, and a great deal more that you don't want to miss out on. So, I mean, there's nothing to talk about that. We all know who JFK was. And I just want to know more about Jackie Kennedy because I honestly don't know that much about her. Next, so the last two books that I have is true crime, and another one I believe is poetry. So, The Candy Card, The Shocking Story of Dean Coral. So, this is pretty much about 36 teenage boys that went missing in the early 1970s from the working class neighborhood of Houston Heights in the south of Texas. The parents of so many of the boys received strange postcards from their sons telling them that they were fine and that they found jobs somewhere else in the state, anywhere from Dallas to Austin. And then August of 1973, the Houston Police Department made a shocking discovery, something that will later become known as the Houston Mass Murderers. And then police found that prior to the murders in the late 1960s, a young man by the name of Dean Coral has been handing out free candy to teenagers in Houston Heights. He was the vice president of his mother's candy company, was described by fellow residents as gentle, friendly, and well-mannered. So, he is also known as the Candyman, and I already mentioned that. No. Okay, so he's also mentioned as the Candyman, one of the deadliest serial killers in American history. So, I actually never heard of this guy before, so that's why I got the book, because I never heard of this case before. Okay, and the last true crime book that I have is The Deadly Dozen, America's 12 Worst Serial Killers. And some of the killers that they mention is Son of Sam, William Bonin, the Boston Strangler, Ted Bundy, Dean Coral, Jeffrey Dahmer, Albert Fish, John Wayne Gacy, Randy Crabb, Dennis Rader, Richard Ramirez, and Gary Ridgway. And the last book that I have is Bluebird. What happens when a man drinks a gallon of rum per day for a year? Many things. He falls in love with a bar. He befriends the homeless. He goes broke. He ends up in jail. He convinces himself that the world is burning. He turns into a bluebird. Most importantly, though, he laughs. He laughs because he has to, because it's the only way to fight off the truth. Yes, the world is ablaze, but I am holding the torch. My fellow birds will understand. Look at those flames, so bright and warm. There will be words in the ashes. So that's the last one. Like I said, I highly doubt I'm gonna read all these books by the end of the year because of how slow I read books, but it is worth a try to see how many I can fit. And you know what's crazy though? My goal for this year was to read at least 50 books, and I'm not even halfway through it. So good thing some of these books are really short to read, so that will probably help. So, and that will be it for today's video. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you want to see more of me. And I'll see you next time. Peace. And one more book that I forgot to mention is called Essential Oils, Natural Remedies, the complete A to Z reference of essential oils for health and healing. I want to get into reading more books about, you know, using herbs and stuff and using the natural stuff for your body. So I would like to read more into herbs and all the natural stuff. I even within the last few months started to follow some natural TikTokers and stuff, because it just interests me that we are surrounded by all these plants and stuff and we don't use them as often. So in the future, I would love to transition into using natural stuff.